Yo, welcome back. It's a 3-month hiatus of 2Gs in the pod. I have a special guest, our first ever female special guest on 1G in a pod. And
shots fired.
Bow, bow. Yeah, I should probably just get those sound effects in. I don't want to hear myself making gun sounds. Her name is Helena, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause for Helena. Welcome to 1G in a pod.
Thank you, 1G.
I'm actually really glad to have you. We've talked about this show several times before. We've even talked about, there's a lot going on right now, but there was one specific topic that came to light recently, and it's something that a lot of people can relate to, because I'm going to assume that the majority of our listeners have been in a relationship. Have you ever been in a relationship, Helena?
Once or twice. Been around the block.
Is that you sure that's the right way to call it? Been around the block?
Yeah. You can make of that what you will, but I've been around the block. So yes, been in a few relationships.
All right. So if you haven't guessed by now, based on what we just said, we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive in relationship talk. What I wanted to know is, why do we want to talk about relationships? To start it off, I actually want to know, is there something that you want to get off your chest?
No. So, long-time listener, first-time podder.
Shit.
So, I don't know why I decided to go that route. I think it's just an easy topic for us to talk about, because it's something that we talk about just during our normal conversation. So, why not transcribe it?
True.
And have everyone listen,
I agree with that. It does come quite often in our off-air conversations, and you are currently in a relationship, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how long has that been now?
So we met in 2018. It wasn't clear cut at the beginning, you know, ladies who are listening out there, and even fellas who've been in situationships where at the beginning nothing is clear cut. You're just kind of doing your own thing. You're having fun, but you never really had that conversation of like, okay, so what are we? Where is this going? So I feel like in the first year that we were together, we did relationshipy stuff, but we never officially said okay, you're my boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend. So I guess we had that conversation probably about a year ago. Actually, we made our anniversary August 24th, so Kobe Bryant Day.
Oh shoot!
He's a huge Kobe Bryant fan, and I'm a basketball fan. So just to make it simpler, because again, we've known each other for 2 years, but we've never had a date or anything specific. So last year, we kind of had a breakthrough in our relationship where we're just like, okay, so let's make it official. And we just said, okay, let's pick a random date where we should have our anniversary. And that was proposed on the table, and I had no qualms with it. So it's 8/24.
So 8/24 because it was his preference.
Well, not just his preference. So I technically met him February of 2018. And then I moved in his neighborhood, in his area around March 2018. And then we had conversations like, when did you, it sounds kind of corny, but I think we asked each other the question, so when did you know you were in love with me? And we were talking about summer of the year I met you. So we were end of summer, early summer. And I think we both said around the same time. I think I told him yeah, probably more mid to late summer. And he also said, yeah, I probably figured out that I loved you too, more to late summer. So there's a lot of factors there. So late summer, basketball fans, he's a huge Kobe fan. So we just decided 8/24 because we will never forget it.
Yeah, that's a very memorable date. So end of summer / August 24th would be your declaration for your love for each other.
Right.
Basically.
So even though we've known each other for 2 years.
In March and February of 2018, sort of cut you, but at that time it wasn't yo, I love you, let's be together, will you be my girlfriend, will you be my boyfriend? It was when you both started to click and started to actually know each other and fréquenter, frequenting each other, or
fréquenter.
You know what? I'm gonna cut that out too. Courting? Can we say courting?
Sure. But what does fréquenter mean?
It's a stupid French word. Fréquenter is when you're seeing someone / dating, I guess.
Ooh, so not in a relationship,
Yeah, you're not officially there. Yeah,
but just
you're
dating.
you're seeing someone. Yeah.
So like,
I'm teaching my friend Helena French live while we're potting. Can you believe that? That's amazing. One Gina pod. One Gina pod. I don't even think I ever taught George, the other George, a single, like not even a one word of French with the 2 years that we've been potting, or a year and a half, right?
yo, listen, I think you need to stop with the 1G and a pod thing. It could be a sore spot.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's called 2Gs in a pod.
Yeah, okay. You see, this is how friendships turn into like everybody against George type shit. Like, because when George is gonna hear this and he hears that specific part, what you just said right there, it's gonna be Helena and George versus George.
No, I'm not against anybody.
And I love it because it's always me against the world. You know, Tupac, all day.
Oh God.
R.I.P. You know what I'm saying? All eyes on me. Well, rather, all ears on me right now. Relationships. So August 24th. See, this is news to me. I did not know that until right now. So now, but like, what's gonna be more important though? Is Kobe more important than the?
No, I think because again, we don't. From what I remember, there aren't like real milestones in a relationship. We're not that kind of relationship where I've known people from like, my friends in the past who've celebrated like monthsary, right? So like
monthsary?
right. So for example, like if they started dating June 13th, they'll
in July
sell
13th,
exactly until they do the culmination and they do a 1 year.
Has anyone ever done a week's anniversary? Do you know anyone who's ever done that?
I feel like that's a high school thing, but sometimes when you're like super in love and you got that puppy love going on, then yeah, totally people do weeksery.
So you're currently in a relationship. You said you've been around the block, whatever that means.
It just means I've been in relationships.
Yeah, yes, one or two of them, maybe more. Like you've frequented people that never led into a real relationship, right?
So if we're going to be, what's the word, official?
Yeah.
I've only had 2 boyfriends, but a lot of situationships.
Between those guys, like those specific guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the reason why I've only had, well, except for my current boyfriend now, so I guess I've had 3. But before my current boyfriend, the man I'm seeing right now, I've only had conversations with 2 other guys in my past where we've actually said, okay, so I'm your girlfriend, you're my boyfriend. Whereas everything else was just kind of like an unspoken rule, but then it's not, if it's unspoken, it leaves things up in the air and there's no real clarity.
So why is that a common thing? Rather, is it a common thing? The whole unspoken, like unsure, the unsurety, if that's even the word to describe people who get involved with each other and no one actually makes anything ever official. If it is a common thing, why does that happen? Like, are people worried about something? Are they insecure about something? Are they scared?
I mean, I think there's a lot of factors into it. First of all, our generation just doesn't like to commit. I think just growing up, we've had so many options, whether it's like, having a lot of toys, having lots of different kinds of food. I mean, dating websites have always been kind of a thing, obviously starting with like, things like Match.com and all of these like paid sites from back in the day, which spurred, free sites like Plenty of Fish and that other one that I don't remember right now, but I've definitely been on it. So I was probably, I was using those sites like 2010 eras, right?
Holy shit.
And then obviously with the rise of things like Tinder and Bumble, there's just so many options for people to just, you don't have to commit, right? You can literally swipe right on, an unlimited number of people. And it's, for us as a generation, as millennials, we're all about instant gratification. And it's just about like, okay, this is cool for now. Like, for example, let's say you're talking to a shorty and everything is going well. But then you get another match and then you strike another conversation with that other shorty and that goes well too. And it's like, well, why can't I do that for a 3rd time, a 4th time, a 5th time? And with girls, obviously they have more options. The ratios just work out that way. Dudes be on dating sites more than girls are.
Right.
And yeah, I think it is common because again we have so much selection and we don't want to commit. So, but we still get into these situations where okay, you hang out and you do everything the couples do, but you never had that real conversation. So if someone steps out of that relationship, who is the other person to say, oh, they're cheating on me, when you've never had that full agreement that you guys are really together?
Okay. In a way, I get what you're saying, but I just find it funny that you made that comparison. Like, oh, we have so many food options, which is true, toy options, but that's just because we're spoiled little brats.
First world problems.
It really is, actually. That is probably the best way to put it. We live in a very well-developed continent rather, even, and we take all that shit for granted. Like, we take humans for granted. We take, like, swipe, 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 swipe. It's such a bad habit, and I think it's just because it comes down to the fact that people's brains are just so, like, melted that they don't even... It's like I don't know how to explain it. They look at their apps and they're, like, just so zoned out that they don't even know what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
They don't even realize that they're just sweeping or swiping on other humans who probably don't even look at it the same way you're looking at it, right? Because I go on it. I've seen them. I see girls who write entire, like, Wikipedia length, like, bios on there. Their whole life story. I don't know who the hell you are, but I know you now just because I read your thing. And then there's dudes who don't even read that stuff because all they look at is the physical, right?
Exactly. And
then you got people, so you got those girls, right, who really take it seriously. It's like their resume, but for dating. And then you got guys, you got girls who don't put anything on there because they look at it as, I'm only doing this out of boredom.
Hookups.
Just see what my options are out there. You see, keyword options, right? And then you got the ones who care a lot about it. And then you got the ones who are unsure. Mm-hmm. It's either yes or a no. We'll see how it goes. Mm-hmm. Well, now you're good. You have a nice, healthy relationship. Mm-hmm. And you're happy and all that. But right now, we're just going to do a little rewind in your life, okay? The boyfriend doesn't exist. This is at a time...
Okay.
Let's just go back to a time when you didn't even have a boyfriend. Like, when you started those apps... Mm-hmm. Like, did you already have a boyfriend prior to that, when you first you got your first taste of dating apps, like the free ones?
Yeah, so I had a boyfriend prior to those,
like before apps. Like the text, like the cell phone era and all that.
Yeah, so I met my first boyfriend. We were together for 6 years. It was like my high school boyfriend, but we didn't go to the same high school. So how does that work? So we met through like a mutual friend. So I lived in the west end of Ottawa and he lived in the east end of Ottawa. Mm-hmm. But like we just met through mutual friends. But he was 2 years older than me. Started dating when I was 14, so he was 16.
Oh God.
Yeah. So
Feds, don't cut us off, man, please.
Yeah. So we dated for 6 years. So yes, I had a boyfriend prior to the whole dating app.
So that happened. Okay, got it. Perfect. So then 6 years later, you're done. Not that like you wanted to be done, but we're just going with the timeline here, right? It ran its course. So now 6 years go by. You are now single. Is that when you discovered like the apps and you started going on them? Or did you take a little bit of time to kind of like heal from the whole, because 6 years is not like 6 weeks, you know what I mean, or 6 months. Yeah, we're talking 6 years here. Some girls might actually have a heartbreak even after 2 years or 1 year of dating someone, and it takes them a while for them to like, you know, heal. The healing process, how long did that take after the 6 years?
I just want to say, I want to preface it by saying that I probably got on dating sites before I was over the relationship.
So you got on there before you weren't even done healing yet, and you still hopped on the dating apps.
Yeah, because I think it was
as a distraction.
Maybe a distraction, or perhaps it was a way I thought that I can get over the relationship, right? Because I know that it sounds really sleazy, but everybody has heard of that saying, you know, way to get over a guy is to get under one, right? But that wasn't my MO. but that, yeah. Oh, come on. Everyone has heard that, but that wasn't my MO. I have now. Specifically, I was with someone for 6 years, and you know, it was teenage love. It was my first love. It was a deep love. But I was still young. I was 20, so I wanted to know what else was out there. And yeah, like it just seemed like a fun thing to do. I remember when I got on like Plenty of Fish, like way back, in the day, I remember going on like 7 straight dates with like different people, and we did like 7 different cuisines for those 7 straight dates.
Get
So I had
out.
like Mexican, Chinese the next day, then I had Japanese, and then I don't remember the other ones, but it was really
Bruh.
it was a cool experience. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm someone who thrives on first dates. I love first dates.
Yeah.
But not everybody likes it. I have friends who hate that first date.
It's
and
nerve
want-
wracking. It's it could be like that. Yeah, I get it.
Right, but I feel like it's because I like interviews for some reason. Like, I feel like I kill in job interviews, and I feel like a first date is literally like an interview. You put your first or best step forward, right? Your best foot forward rather. And I feel like it's like tit for tat. I'm doing the same thing. The person that you're dating is doing the same thing, and it's like a nice vibe. And then I guess at the end of it, you find out whether you have enough in common with that person to warrant a second date or not.
When you did that seven date streak, was that like in a span of 7 days, one guy a day type thing, or
No, it wasn't.
Monday to Sunday?
It wasn't 7 straight days. It was probably like a few days in between.
That's still really
It was
crazy.
It was crazy.
How the hell do you pull this off? Yo, women, bro. Like, I consider myself extremely lucky if I was able to pull that off.
Listen,
Because I wasn't heavy like that on Plenty of Fish though.
but we were talking about options, right?
Yes.
So can you imagine now? Again, that was just Plenty of Fish, where you had to write full-on bios and things like that, and you had to message folks back and forth. But now it's literally, I can get on Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, whatever the case may be. I can swipe right and I can just send someone a message and say, hey, want to meet up? It's so simple. It's so easy. So like, I'm sure someone can do 7 straight dates now. Well, maybe not due to coronavirus, but prior to that, someone could easily go Monday to Sunday, 7 straight dates.
Yeah. When you put it that way, it does seem easier. But let's just go back to what you said though. Like, hey, let's meet up. I doubt that's the first thing you're gonna tell somebody, man, without getting like unmatched.
It depends. Like, that's not how I would do it, but I've had friends who, they do a little bit of a small talk. Like, for example, I have a friend, she's married now, but when she was on those dating sites, she would do small talk, but then she would want to meet that person as soon as possible because she didn't want to waste time. So they do a little small talk, and then, if the guy didn't bring it up first, then she would say, hey, do you want to meet up for coffee? So that she can put not just a name to the face, even though she knows what the person looks like, but just to get that vibe.
You know how funny it is that you mentioned that? Last year, I had matched with someone, and the girl wanted to meet like the same day as well. Like, let's go for drinks.
Did that freak you out?
It didn't freak me out, but I was a little annoyed because I had other plans, and I chose the other plans over meeting like a female. Like, I went to go play ball with my boys.
Hey, bros before hoes.
Sure. You said it, not me. So
so let me ask you this question: are you still friends with those bros?
I mean, shit. I have a podcast with them.
Right, and do you still talk to this girl?
Hell no.
Exactly.
No, but check this out. And it's funny that you even say bros before hoes, because I went to go to my original plan of playing basketball that day. And when I went there, I told them what happened. And they're like, why didn't you just go with her?
What are you doing here, bro? Get out of here.
Yeah, go get yourself. Like, yeah, go do your thing. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you telling me this now? See, I put you motherfuckers first over this.
Right.
This girl right here. Not saying that this girl could have been like wifey or whatever, but who knows what that could have led to. Just to show you that it does happen. It's really rare. But when it happens to me, I get skeptical because this is gonna sound so rough, but normal girls don't do that.
Why?
A normal girl who doesn't have a little bit of crazy in her.
Why?
Because, like, why do you do that? Because historically, it just doesn't happen with me.
Because you want to meet. Listen, people are on these apps. Like, so every person's intent or intention rather on these apps are always different. Like you said, some people just use it for boredom, right? Some people use it for hookups. Some people use it seriously. So for those who take it seriously, right, they swiped right for a reason. They like what they see visually. Maybe they also liked your bio. So why do they need to beat around the bush and do all that small talk if they've already decided, like, okay, I swiped right on this person, he seems mad cool, let's just get to it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm the expert at that. I have my experiences with it. Some good, some were shit.
I think we all have.
More shit than good though. Like the percentages, it's really not that well balanced.
You know what I want to hear? I want to hear about the best date you ever had.
You know what? I'm always better with the negatives. Maybe I should just tell you the worst
Okay,
date
how
instead.
about this? Okay, do we want to start with the good or do we want to start with the bad? Because I can, if you're gonna share your worst date ever, I can share my best date ever. So do we want to start with the good or do we want to start?
No, I usually I like to end things on a positive note. So maybe I could start with the bad.
Go ahead.
Well, I actually had a date with a girl that didn't come from online apps. It came from meeting her at a wedding. And I was getting pressured by, relatives saying like, yo, what are you doing? Go sit with her at the table. And
was she Lebanese?
Yeah. Because this one was very formal. I felt like it was too formal. I felt like it was very interviewee. You mentioned interviews and you love that shit. Well, I don't. Because this one felt very non-organic.
Okay.
Because we exchanged numbers and let me spend all of my checking account on your bitch ass at the restaurant, which cost me an arm and a leg, decided to choose the keg as the location for my first date and
delicious. And last.
Yes, it was delicious. The food, I'll give him that. But dating wise, it didn't go so well. Not that like it was a disaster. It's just that I felt very uncomfortable the whole time because this was at a time when I was unemployed, okay?
Okay.
She wasn't. A lot of her questions were work related.
Like what?
What do you do? What are you doing with your life?
And your responses were?
Nothing.
That's a horrible answer.
I didn't want to lie.
Right. But you know what you can say when you're unemployed? Oh, I'm just in between some things, working on myself, discovering what I'm interested in.
But that's like a generic unemployed, like trying to hide your unemployed status reply, because then that's going to lead to, what does that mean?
Then you elaborate. I just finished. I just graduated, so I've applied to certain positions. I don't know. Obviously, everyone's explanation will differ.
I think lying is the best thing to do in these cases. And it's not even lying. It's just, it's a white lie. Because you can be unemployed temporarily because you got laid off. And maybe, like a lot of people right now are getting laid off.
Facts.
The fuck? Maybe there was a coronavirus that happened that time too.
Facts.
But there wasn't. Maybe there was a local thing that was happening at the time. But anyhow, she asked me a lot of questions that I was just uncomfortable. Like the conversations weren't really going towards like what I was interested in. It was very like generic bullshit. Like the only thing that she said that I was interested in is that she liked J. Cole.
Hey.
And because J. Cole, I'll tell you right now, I have all his albums. Yeah, sure, it's all good, but it's not like I can try to carry a whole ass date off of a J. Cole. Like,
I definitely can.
Really? So we're just gonna like do a deep dive on all of his albums and what are his best verses, his best beats.
Listen, so this is why I like first dates, right? Because like, yes, these generic questions on first dates, I think they're typical. It's good to know, right? Because you want to know the person ultimately sitting across from you. But then you just try to find that common ground. So for you guys, like for me, okay, so this is how I would have spun it, right? So like if I were you in that situation and, I got tired and bored of the generic first date questions, and then all of a sudden you heard, oh, she's a J. Cole fan. What's your favorite J. Cole mixtape? Right? Start from there, How has he progressed from, young Simba days to, releasing his first album and trying to go like pop, and now he's all about like activism, Like there's so many things that you could have covered in like a 2-hour date just talking about J. Cole.
Yeah, but I think her level of fandomness isn't up to par with yours. Like you, it's like talking about the Boston Celtics or the NBA, let's say, or because the thing is you don't always land on girls that will have your level of interest in J. Cole, right? Like it's just like very surface level.
But did you ever ask her level of interest in J. Cole?
I can't remember. I actually can't remember, but I'm leaning more towards no than yes.
Okay.
Because otherwise, if it was a yes, then I would remember that we had a whole ass convo about J. Cole and
which you didn't.
Who that, you know?
Hey.
But the best part about that date though was when it ended.
Wow, it was that bad? Like it was a dry ass date?
Yeah, it was extremely dry, and it felt really forced. And usually, whenever I go on a date with a girl and I'm feeling her, in my eyes, from my eyes only, it's bad. Get it? J. Cole?
Yes.
It was bad. It was bad. But like, I've never been on a date where it was bad to the point where it's like she showed signs of her being a psychopath, or like she ran away from me, or like police was involved, or like there was a physical altercation, or she fell asleep in the middle of the date, or she went to the bathroom and she never came back.
Classic.
Or me doing that. Like I've never experienced that. I haven't. My bad is it was dry.
It was dry. Feel you. I feel you.
Yeah. The other bad date was more of on a financial level because I just paid for the whole thing, and what I paid was more than what I expected to pay.
Was it more than the keg?
Oh, the keg is it was like McDonald's money.
Really?
Compared to that.
Where did you go? Can you at least drop the restaurant's name?
No, because they don't deserve free promotion right now. Because even if it's non-date worthy, like you're just going there to eat with friends, it's still a lot of fucking money. If you went there with a group of friends and everybody pays their own bill, even then I still find it a lot. Like if you're gonna charge me that much, you might turn it into a fucking buffet.
Ooh.
But it's not a buffet.
No.
It's very limited. Extremely
Ooh.
limited.
Well, yeah. Like the more expensive the restaurant, the smaller the portions, my guy. You don't know
what kind
that?
of a logic is that? Like,
because fine dining is supposed to be served in courses.
You know what? There should be a rule in restaurants where if it's like you have to tell the person who greets you we're on a date, so we should get like an automatic discount. If it's a date, it should automatically be like 50% off.
So what's a date? Because a date can be two friends. A date can be a family date.
No. We're talking about like we both just met each other on Bumble or Tinder, and you got to show them the receipts that we just met.
Bumble discount?
Yeah. They need to create the Bumble discount where you show them the proof that you both met each other on here, and you even have the text, back and forth receipts, and that's it. Like that should be enough proof right there.
But that makes no business sense for the restaurant. It's not like they're partnered with Bumble and they're getting proceeds from every customer they get that are on the app. You know what I mean? Like that's just bad business.
Listen, a lot of things I say doesn't make sense. All right.
Facts.
I just would love for that to happen. Because that restaurant, in fact, even if I wanted to tell you, I can't because I don't remember the name. I actually don't even remember the name. All enough. I know is I paid an arm and a leg. In fact, how about, let's just put it like this. It's like as if I went to McDonald's 40 times.
Ooh.
All right? Like that's how expensive it was.
40 times, but no food.
Yeah, exactly. It was bad. Like the date actually was great. Mm-hmm. But it sucks. Like what I don't like about going on those dates is that you don't know what the future holds after that. I would love for there to be an actual rule, like a law that says you'll know by the end of the date if you're going to have another one after that. Like, just let me know. Is it a yes or a nah? Are we doing this again? Are we going to run up another $150 bill or not?
Okay, but let me ask you this question. Have you ever had like second thoughts about a person, right? Like, for example, let's say you had a really great date and then you thought that, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to see this girl again. But then you ponder back when you're done the date, you go back to your crib and you're just like, actually, nah, like, because, hindsight is always 20/20, and maybe you found some alarming things about the date or whatever the case may be, or something completely opposite where you thought you had a bad date, but then you thought about it and you're like, you know what, let me give her a second chance, right? Like, how are we to know exactly after that first date if there's going to be a second one, like, right off the top?
I think those things are easier to happen. Like the chances of getting a second one is if you went on a date with someone who you already knew outside of like the apps, because those are all strangers, right? When you start off with those. But if it's a friend that you've known for a while and you're like, hey, I like this girl like as a friend, but maybe I'll like her even more beyond just the friendship point. So let's try to go for a date. And I feel like those ones will help you secure a second date because the girl already knows you. She already knows your style. She's already comfortable around you. You went on a date with her, and the date most likely is going to go well anyways, because what are the chances that you go on a bad date with someone that you already know? Do those happen?
Absolutely, it can happen because you go. There's a weird transition where, you know, you guys are buds, you guys are homies, and then you change up the scenery, and it's like, oh shit, like, yeah, we're homies, we're buds, but we're on a date. So am I going to act like I normally do because he's my friend, or am I going to act like I normally do on a date? So it's like finding that line. It's like, what role am I going to play right now? So yeah, it can definitely be complicated.
I feel like I still didn't officially answer your question about
what's the worst date. Well, you talked about two. They both were really expensive dates. One was,
I guess the bad part about making it the worst was
the finances.
It was just the finances. That's it. But for all of the other aspects that can make a date bad, I didn't experience them ever. I did not.
Right.
I didn't have a psychopath.
Right.
Or was very rude or anything like that. No, the girls were always nice.
Okay.
I can't really recall a time when a girl was the opposite of that.
That's fine.
But I don't like dry, boring, generic ass combos. Like, it's too much.
True.
The last one where I paid an arm and a leg, it started where I was worried. I was a little skeptical. I'm like, is it because we started talking and I felt like it may go towards that route of being boring and dry. But then suddenly something sparked it, and then boom, suddenly now we're both being comfortable around each other.
So you had a good time.
Yeah.
You had a good time, but you didn't date her again.
No. Because my intuition is telling me, yeah, she liked it. She got a free meal out of it, a really expensive one. And it ran its course for her.
Damn.
After that one date. He's cool and all, but nah.
My question is, okay, so you had fun on the date. So, like, what happened? Like, did you guys just stop talking?
You know how sometimes you might see somebody, you meet them randomly in the middle of nowhere, or you meet them somewhere, like at an event somewhere, let's say, and then you guys start talking to each other, and you have a conversation, and you're like, oh, okay, well, anyways, man, it was nice meeting you. All right?
Right.
You don't ever say, like, I'll catch you around the block, or I'll see you again sometime. No, because you don't expect to see them ever again. I think that's what she saw that as. Okay,
so when the date ended, right? Yeah. So did you guys say, oh, like, it was fun, we should do this again? Or it was...
No, that didn't happen. She said thank you and all that good stuff. Right. All the generic, thank you, blah, blah, blah. Right. I had a good time.
Yeah.
She even went as far as saying, text me when you get home.
Okay.
But that's where she drew the line. After that, it was me. Because I was ready for a second date. I was. Mm-hmm. I want to get to know you more.
You had a good time. You want to see her again.
Let's do this again, and let's just try to go up further. You know what I'm saying? But no, she wasn't about it.
She wasn't about it.
But I did wait a few days just to keep it casual and be like, hey, what's up? What are your plans? And then she said that her plans got canceled. Mm-hmm. So then I thought, let me use this opportunity to try to like make up for her getting flopped by other people, her own friends. Mm-hmm. Like, why don't you make up for it by like, let's hang out, let's do something, you and I. And I didn't even get a response.
And then that's where it ended.
Then after that, that's when it was like officially over. I was like, damn, bro. 1G over here, like George getting rejected.
Hey, it happens.
When does that happen to me?
Even the best people get rejected.
Nah, fam. Then I must be better than best because I don't get rejected.
Haha.
I'm too good for rejection.
Wow.
I Dikembe Mutombo your ass. You don't do that to me. I hit you with the block, not you.
Oh, you hit them with the finger wag. Huh?
Yeah.
Like,
and then she decided to MJ me, and she's like, I got you this time, motherfucker. And then she hit me with the wave. the finger wave.
And like the shrug.
Yeah. Then she hit me with fucking 6 threes by half, and then she walked away.
That's right.
Yeah, but I had to pay for that, literally.
So she the goat then. She the goat.
Yeah. But anyhow, again, for the 15th time, I have not experienced any horrendous dates beyond that.
All right.
Okay?
Fair.
Those are the ones. But like, if anything, the only time things get really bad with me, when it comes to like, you know, getting to know girls or dating them or whatever the case may be, is through the texting, because texting is very dangerous. I think it's really dangerous texting girls, man. It really is, because if a girl texts you and she's not showing interest anymore towards you, but you feel one way, she feels differently about you, and you start like texting things that you're gonna eventually regret, you're incriminating yourself by doing that, because you might say the worst things, the wrong things to this person, and she has the proof now that you said that.
It's funny that you say that, because have you ever heard something called the negativity bias?
No, but please tell me.
Okay, so the negativity bias, it usually happens so just by nature of human beings. When things are vague, so on chats or texts, when things are vague, our mind just automatically perceives it as negative. So when someone is, you know, just sending really short and abrupt texts, you know, we don't know the circumstances as to why that person is sending you a short and abrupt text, right? There's so many contexts in play that we just don't know. Maybe this person was driving, maybe they were working, right? Or whatever the case may be. But then when we get those responses, then we come up with our own narratives, right? And it usually tends to go on the negative rather than the positive. So instead of giving them the benefit of the doubt, you know what? Maybe she's just caught up. Maybe she doesn't have the time to text right now. Maybe she'll call me later. But we just go, oh, shit. Okay, that's how you want to play me? You're going to send me short text? All right, fuck it. I'm going to close you. You're done, right? I'm going to move to the next person, right? Again, because we've just been conditioned to think negatively when we perceive things that are vague, or just, you know, they're not sending you paragraphs.
Dr. Helena, ladies and gentlemen, she just described George in a freaking nutshell right there, because that is really toxic to have that. What's the word called again, doctor?
The negativity bias.
I am extremely negatively biased.
And those biases usually come from our own like traumas as people, right? So whether it comes from past experiences with not just romantic relationships, but it usually starts with relationships with your family members, right? With your parents specifically. So a lot of that kind of manifests into how we proceed with our relationships, whether it's an official relationship or whether it's a situationship or whether it's a first date. Like we kind of carry that baggage in. So, you know, if everyone could afford it, I honestly think like every single person can benefit from therapy, like actually seeing a psychologist and just kind of even knowing, again, like from the very beginning, like what your attachment style is as a person. Like, right, do you have like a secure attachment, or do you have, you know, they have four main attachments, but secure is like the healthiest one, right? And I think and then once we know what attachment style we have, then we can work with, oh, this is how, like either I'm aggressive, or I like to take a step back, right? Or if you're secure, you're okay with, like, you're not confrontational, but you're okay with like talking things through, rather than, again, either being too aggressive or just taking a step back where you just avoid it altogether, right? But anyway, that's a completely different point. I don't even remember what my original point was, but yes, everyone can benefit from therapy so that we get to know who we are as people and have a deeper understanding as to why we think the way we do, why we act the way we do, which is really, really important, so that we can be cognizant of that and stop ourselves and change.
What you were saying though, prior to all this deep dive, what you just did right now, was saying how there's a thing called negative bias. I suffer from that a lot. I thought I was over that hump, but it's still there. I get myself in trouble doing that, where I put this narrative in my head, based on type of replies I get from specific type of people. And then the Gemini effect kicks into me, because half of me says, I want to kill you verbally.
Okay.
Like, one part of me wants to, like, just come at your neck and just be like,
Right.
yo, like, what the fuck? And then the other half of me is like, man, fuck it, and just completely delete the whole goddamn chat and just walk away from it and just go do me and don't even think about it too much, because if you do, you're just going to pace yourself in circles and you're going to, like, explode. Your mind's going to blow up, and you don't want to do that because you're hurting yourself.
True.
And I don't want to do that to myself, because I do care about myself.
And also, another thing that I truly believe in is, like, you get what you put out there in the universe, right? So when you start thinking positively, so now that you know that there's a term called negativity bias, and you say you suffer from it, then now you're aware. So now you can start making changes. So when you're getting, like, short responses, try not to internalize it and automatically think that, oh, this person is no longer interested in me. Rather, something that's, I don't know, maybe you can just give them a call, or you can just ask them straight out, like, hey, what's going on? I'd like to see you. Let's go for a coffee date, or let's have a Zoom call, I suppose, nowadays.
So the whole premise of this whole show, this episode today, I just realized I called it the relationship topic, but we actually talked about dating as well. In fact, I feel like we talked more about dating than we did relationships, right?
Dating and relationships.
Yeah, we talked more about me, and I really want to get into your experiences when it comes to bad dates versus, like, your best dates that you've had. Let's go back to the 7 days in the seven day
cuisines in a
yeah
row.
the seven cuisine streak. Okay, ultimately, did all of them turn out fine? Were they all good?
Yeah, they were all, like, pretty decent first dates.
Like, there wasn't any of them that, like, stood out in a shitty way or in a negative way, where it was like, this guy is an asshole and I want him fired.
No, you're fired.
Yeah, on some Donald Trump shit. But yeah, so okay, so let's start with the negative, because we want to end things positively. Do a rundown of your worst date.
The worst date?
Oh fuck, she has to, like, crack her knuckles and stretch her back and sip some tea, water rather.
So listen, people, I have a degree in criminology, so I don't know, I love crime, or, like, not crime, sorry, let me rephrase that. So criminology is basically like a history of crime and how it's manifested from the olden days to now, talking about law enforcement and civil liberties and social justice, whatever the case may be. Anyhow, there was also a point there where I applied to, like, become a cop. That didn't work out. Point is, I do like working with people who are in conflict with the law, because a lot of the times those folks are people of color who, don't deserve to be getting that treatment, and it's a system of institutionalized racism, but that's on another topic.
Case in point, what's going on right now in America, but yeah, again,
exactly.
A whole other conversation.
Exactly,
yeah.
But point is, I do like I'm a social worker by profession, so I like working with those kinds of people. And when I was on, I don't even remember, I believe it was probably Tinder, a few years ago, probably I want to say like 2016. I was on Tinder and I matched with someone and I thought he was cute. I gave him my number and we started talking, and he told me that he did some time. And me being like liberal and shit, whatever the case may be, I'm like, that's cool. That doesn't bother me. So what? You served some time. I don't even remember what he served time for, but it was something really minimal. He probably I think he only went to jail for like a few months. It wasn't like a whole year or anything, but I'm like, that's cool. He was talking about, reforming his life. He's in a better place. He wants to be doing good, da-da-da. I'm like, that's cool. And then, I don't even remember what happened. So we just went out on a date. We had some drinks, and then there are a lot of red flags, people. But even before the date, but I guess I was just so bored that I was just like, fuck it, let's just go. So I meet with him, and it started okay. And then he strategically said, okay, let's meet at this restaurant, because it was like a few blocks away from his crib. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I don't mind traveling to where you are. So we had that date or whatever, and I was already getting like really creepy vibes from him. Like he had like the crazy eyes. I'm sure fellas, ladies, y'all know about those crazy eyes. Like when you know, you know. So this man had crazy eyes. Like they were bulging out of the socket every time he was speaking, and I got creeped out. And I think we had like a not like a dispute, but we had a disagreement of some sort. Again, I think I was so traumatized by this that I just forgot a lot of it. So we had a little disagreement, and then he goes, "Really? You want to disagree with me right now? You want to disagree with someone who's just been to jail right now?" And then I was like, I'm gonna go to the washroom. And I went to the washroom. I called my girl. I was like, yo, and then she was just like, yo. And then she was like, you went on that date, didn't you? After I told you not to. And I'm like, of course I did. So now I'm here. He's crazy. He just said something like, yo, are you really gonna argue with someone who's been to jail right now? And she's like, yo, get the fuck out of there. And I'm like, all right, I'm a dip right now. So I come back and I try to make like an excuse or whatever. And he was like, and I basically said like, you know, like I had a lot of fun with you, but I'm gonna go now. I don't think this is gonna work. And then he was so apologetic. Oh, I'm so sorry, da 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 da. You know, I was just so nervous, blah, blah, blah. You're so pretty. I didn't mean it, la, la, la. Let's just go to my crib right now. It's just literally like down the block. We can chill. We can like watch a movie. And I'm like, no, thank you. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, okay, well, can I at least walk you to like your bus stop? And I'm like, sure, because where we met wasn't the best of neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. So he walked me to the bus stop, and he was just like, yo, I'm so sorry, like I'm so embarrassed, I don't know what went over me, da 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 da. And he was just like, yo, text me when you get home, okay? I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, don't block my number, okay? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then the bus comes, and he was just like, yo, let me just like bus you home. Like, let's just drive, let me just get on the bus with you and just like walk you all the way home. I'm like, no, it's cool. Like, I'm an adult. I can take care of myself. You don't need to get on the bus with me. And yo, like he was about to step on there, and I'm like, no, it's cool. And I like gave him like a little shove, and then thankfully the door closed. And as soon as I got on the bus, fam, I blocked and deleted his number. That was the worst. That was the worst that I've ever been on, because I felt unsafe.
That's the most dangerous date you've probably been on. Well,
right? Yeah, it was the most dangerous, worst. It was just
all of the combination.
It was a deadly combination. It was a lethal combination. And
I was worried that you're gonna say when the door closed, he started running after the bus and he hopped on.
No.
Like he found his way.
He wasn't that crazy, but I remember there was like another, because this is in Toronto, so sometimes. Like there would be like a bus that would come right after, and there was a bus that came right after, and I'm like, please don't get on there. Please don't get on. Like starts like it ends up just chasing you via another bus. Bro, it was.
Did you look at his ankle to see if there was like a monitor? Was there anything down there?
No, he was good, but yeah, that was definitely the worst.
Sketchy as hell.
Yeah, I'm stupid. I was stupid.
Well, that's what happens when you watch too much Criminal Minds.
I was young and stupid. I'm older now, more mature.
You watch way too much Criminal Minds and like Law and Order.
Yeah,
and shit
like
that.
I guess I was on my Mother Teresa shit. Like, oh, like yo,
give him a chance.
Give him a chance. You can change him or whatever.
You're not changing nobody. So you never saw him again, I hope.
Hell no.
You never even coincidentally crossed paths with him ever anywhere in like.
Toronto's a big city.
It doesn't matter how big it is. You just never know. You never know.
We never crossed.
You don't know.
You don't know.
No, you don't know. That's the thing. You just don't know. But luckily for you, 4 years later, you never seen him again.
No.
He never tried reaching you on socials or anything like that.
No, because I would never. I never gave him any of my handles.
So you guys only exchanged numbers prior to physically meeting when you guys texted on the app and you're like, yo, give me your number, and
I deleted and blocked that shit right when I got on the bus.
You know what's funny with me is that because I expect to always have to go after the girl, right? Like generally that's how it works, right? Like it's rare that you see, but there's been cases where I've matched with a girl on the app and She initiates the phone number exchange.
Right. It's 2020.
Hindsight or the year?
It's the year.
Oh.
It's 2020.
What does that even mean?
Meaning it doesn't have to fall on the guy. If the girl wants it and she's a boss ass bitch, she's gonna go out and get it. She doesn't need to wait for you.
But you know what though? As positive as that sounds, like, oh wow, a girl is asking me for the number. Wow, I didn't even have to do much work.
Right.
But like, I'll give you the example of one girl who did that, and then she had to justify herself by saying, "Listen, I don't normally do this, but can we just exchange numbers? Can we just move this over to text? Give me your number." Why do you have to explain yourself? Just fucking ask for it.
I don't know. Maybe the person was thinking like, oh, I don't want to freak him out by
Thinking that she's too easy
or too eager or too quick because, you know.
Me, I prefer regular texting anyways because it's just so easy. You see blue text if you're an iPhone person, and if they have a piece of shit like an Android, yeah, I said it.
Hey.
Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I'm a
Android, what's up?
Yeah, something like that. It's because that's what I've been texting, more frequently than anything else.
Right.
So that happened, but then the girls who did ask me for the girl who would ask me for the number, it would end up leading to nothing. Mm-hmm. Case in point, the girl who got a free meal. She asked me for the number, and then she just dipped after like that meal. Like I never heard from her. Well, I heard from her again, but I never saw her again because she didn't want anything out of that. Yo, who knows? Maybe she should have got more free meals after that. Why not? Maybe I could have got a free meal one day if she was cute, if she was generous enough.
Right.
So that was your worst date.
Yes.
You never dealt with any more criminals after that?
No, I've had other bad dates too, but if we're talking about the worst date, that was definitely the worst date because I felt like
you were unsafe.
Unsafe. I didn't know if he was packing. I didn't know if he had a knife on him. Who knows, right?
Wow.
I don't know.
You know what? That is a really big deal when you say you're gonna disagree with a guy who did time, who was in jail. Yo,
that was intense.
What if you decided to match his energy or one him up?
I would never. I love myself. I want to live.
Yeah. Okay. No, but you know when like somebody says some weird shit and then you return the energy and then they get freaked out by you being weird, even though they're the one who initiated it. But like someone who says weird shit, not like threat wise, just say weird shit. You know, there's people who say really weird things.
Yeah.
That makes you like question them. Yeah. But instead of being like, okay, you're weird, let me return the favor, but then you freak them out. And then they're the ones who end up running away.
Yeah.
You've never done that before?
No, I've never freaked anyone out.
No?
In that way.
You always play it too safe. You see, that's the thing. You're too safe, man. You're too safe, bro. That was probably the only time where you didn't play it safe.
But you don't want to play all your cards on the first date. You want to leave them wanting more. That's why you get your second date.
Mystery vibes, huh? That's why you like The Weeknd a lot, or Division, rather?
Love Division.
Not The Weeknd?
Yeah, The Weeknd's alright. His new album's alright. But it wasn't really my steez.
But Division is a whole other thing, though, huh?
Division every project Division has put out has always been fire.
That also play a lot into your dating and relationship life, his music?
At times.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you only listen to him like post breakup, or do you ever listen to him even when you're in
No, I listen to Division all the time.
Okay, check this out. You've never been married, correct?
No.
I haven't either, okay? But I'm going to tell you something. So I was reading about Nick Cannon. And he said after his marriage with Mariah Carey, after the divorce, he no longer wants to get married ever again. And then he said, like, I just want to be by myself forever. I don't want to be responsible for another person's happiness. Yo, that shit hit me. Not saying that you need to be responsible for... no, you need to find your own internal happiness for yourself. And you shouldn't depend on your significant other to be your source of happiness.
Facts. Ever. And that goes for everyone in relationships as well. Like, there's nothing wrong with your significant other making you happy. But that shouldn't be your, like, primary source of happiness. You should find that within. So that... you can use that in a healthy relationship. It's like a give and take.
You know, it's so hard for me to even find. It's like when I go on these apps, I'm thinking like, this is all my city has to offer. It's on these apps. I would love to go old school style and meet them outside of like, you know, digital and social media and cell phone and all that crap.
Yeah.
But where the fuck am I gonna see them?
And also, that's not the wave right now. Like, these apps are designed to make it easier for us to meet people. Right?
Look, man, I'm gonna tell you, based off of my experiences of meeting all these girls, I feel like the percentage is really high of the amount of girls who don't even know what the fuck they want. Don't even matter their age. They're very unsure. Like, their status is unsure.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they write, oh, my goal is to be in a relationship, they still give you like unsure vibes, or like that's what you get out of it, right?
Fair, but if you go on like those paid dating websites, because money goes into it, I'm sure those folks are much more serious.
And
there's
actually,
like certain algorithms that they do to like pair you up. Like, I don't know what I've never done.
I've actually never done them, and I didn't even know that money was involved with those. I thought all of them were free from the beginning.
No.
What are the do's and don'ts we're gonna do in the dating world? Like,
do's and don'ts of dating?
Yeah, like when you're not official with the person, but you guys are courting, you're seeing each other.
Mm-hmm.
You think that like you might reach the third interview, which is before like the final
stage.
Yeah, the finalization. So what are the do's to start off?
Honestly, there's only one do. Be yourself, be authentic, and be genuine. I honestly, like, yeah, you're doing that little gun to your mouth thing, but I honestly don't subscribe to these do's and don'ts. For me, in any relationship that I enter, it's just about, okay, trying to be as genuine as possible. And I've been there when I was younger. You know, I had difficulties trying to broach that situation or broach that conversation. But I feel like now we get to the point where there shouldn't be any more do's and don'ts. Like, we're older now, right?
Yeah, our mindsets are totally different.
It's a completely different game. Like, if you're talking about like dating in your 20s, I feel like, not that it's irrelevant for me, but like it's no longer applies to me. So why should I be giving dating advice to people that
in a different age bracket,
different stage?
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's actually a better way of putting it too. Like, different stage, different mentality, different goals, and
right,
just different everything, right?
And like, I think like dating trends or mannerisms or guidelines, they change within the times. So like 10 years ago versus now, like, who knows what is now deemed acceptable, right, or what's not.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that was pretty, quick, sweet and simple.
So quick as.
Very, very, very like short and sweet reply. So be yourself. Okay, cool, excellent.
Well, what about you? What are some of your do's and don'ts of dating?
Don't be a psychopath.
Okay.
Don't be aggressive. Don't be negative Nancy.
Okay.
Because showing a lot of signs of negativity, like, often gets draining for the other person. Mm-hmm. What are the don'ts?
You have more don'ts than do's?
Yeah, you say be yourself, but you're not even being yourself right off the bat, though. When you have that first date with a person, you're treating it like an interview, like you said.
Right, but that's still a version of myself. Like, for example, if I'm in an interview and I'm talking about my resume and my qualifications, that's still me. I went to university. I got these degrees. I have this work experience. I have these skills. That's still me. It's just a different version of what I would say on a first date. Right? Like, I'm fun, I'm cool, I'm lighthearted,
I'm good at bop it,
I'm good at bop it, or I just be killing it. I just got a 95. That was my score. So I think I disagree with you when you're saying you're not really being yourself. You are. It's just you're putting on a different hat.
You know what? It's because me being me, like George G, right? Like me, that one guy, being myself isn't the best thing, because when I'm being myself, I'm always negative, aren't I?
No.
Oh shit, you're actually bigging me up now? Are you actually bigging me up?
No, you're not always negative. Actually, I would say that
eccentric?
I would say that you're normal with regards to your negativity and positivity. It's probably half and half, and that's
Gemini vibes.
Gemini vibes, whatever you want to call it, but it's just normal. Like, sometimes we have our off days, sometimes we have our good days.
I've been too negative for too long, and now the difference now is that I'm aware of it more than I've ever been. Mm-hmm. So I want to try to improve that.
Yeah.
to be better. It's still not there. It's still a work in progress, but it's a long time. It might even take my whole lifetime. I don't know.
It should, because growing
Right.
is a lifelong process. We always grow.
Okay.
Whether like, you know, if we're talking scientifically, when our cells are regenerating, we're a whole new person tomorrow. Right? Whether it's a mentality thing, relationship thing, like we're always changing.
When I'm always alone all the time and I don't have much interaction with people, it's like I start to like think a lot. I start to doubt a lot. I start to have like doubts about myself, and like makes me feel like I'm a guy who just doesn't really fit in anymore. And then and what that also leads to, I find, is that it takes away from like my spitting game around these females when it comes to like the dating world, because it's like, damn, I feel like there used to be a time where I was able to do this shit in my sleep, and now I'm at a point where it's like, yo, what the fuck happened? Like, I can't even talk to these girls no more, man.
But your tactics when you were a youngin', right, may not be the best approaches now that you're older.
But I'm not like really using the same tactics either. I just don't know what it is. Maybe, again, times have changed. You know, things have changed. Technology, the social media, people's mindsets are different. Like, people have literally changed their ways of living because of this bullshit, social media, which is fucked up, man.
Well, it depends. You can look at it that way, or you can look at it like adapting, survival.
Have you ever been, aside from that one guy that you went on a date with who was a little crazy, have you ever been disrespected on a date before, like aside from him?
Like just being on their phone?
Or they've said something disrespectful to you, or that you felt offended, or yeah, like you can consider that as well.
There was one time where, so I was already downtown Toronto, so it wasn't a huge deal, but I was talking with someone and we were supposed to like go out. We were supposed to like meet at like a Popeyes or some shit. Some really random. I don't even know.
Shout out them and not KFC, yeah.
Right? So we were supposed to meet there at a specific time, and it was 8 o'clock. I think it was 8 o'clock.
This is a date or a friend?
No, it was a date.
Okay.
And I was calling him, blah, 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 and like his phone, like it went straight to voicemail, right? It went straight to voicemail, and I'm like, okay, it's 8 o'clock. He's not here. I'm texting him. I'm getting no replies when I call. It goes straight to voicemail. So I'm like, okay, so I guess I'll wait like another 10, 15 minutes, and then that goes by, and I think I waited 15 minutes, and I'm like, okay, screw it. I think I'm getting stood up. So then I started to like make my way back home. And then I think I get a call at like 8:45 saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry. My battery died. Da 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 da. Let's meet up right now. And I was still downtown. So I was like, okay, I guess. And then we met up, and it was so awkward. I just feel like he was just so nonchalant and like just unapologetic that he was technically 45 minutes late for our date, and he just didn't show me a good time. Like, I'm like, he knew that I was new to Toronto, and I was like, like, show me around, and he was just being really lazy with it, and I'm like, fuck. Yeah, so I'm just like, fuck it. Like, first of all, you're late. Second of all, you seem uninterested, so I'm just gonna go. I'm pretty blunt with regards to like dates. I like to just cut to the chase because I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to waste my time.
I love that you have that in you. Like, a part of me would love for all women to be like that with me if ever, let's say, I do some bullshit like that to a girl. But then I also want to have like really thick fucking snake skin, like nastiest, like thickest skin of all time, so that if she does ever get blunt with me, that I could take it like a fucking man and not be a little bitch about it and be like, the fuck you mean? You want to leave me? Who the fuck do you think you are to leave me?
Just try not to internalize it so much, because I feel like you just gotta let that shit like just
go.
Yeah, let it go.
You know what, man? Sorry, not man, but you know what?
Woman.
It's just a matter of, like, there's this thing that I feel like it's easier said than done. You know, you've probably heard this before, where someone's told you, if it doesn't matter in 5 years, why should it matter in like the next 5 minutes?
This is true. And also, you have to keep in mind that this person that's rejecting you, they don't really know you. So it's not like they're rejecting you for your core being. They're just rejecting you off of the information they have of you, which is, just skewed, first of all. and they're just making their assumptions off of, again, the very limited information they have of you, whether it's your looks, whether it's your bio, whether it's the limited conversation you have with them. So don't take offense too much of that, because they're not rejecting you as a person to your core.
Nah, they don't know me. Exactly. You're right. So I shouldn't take that personally. You're absolutely right. Another round of applause. Ultimately, that leads me to wanting to apologize to all the women who have ever offended, who have ever roasted or shitted on, snapped on.
George apology tour.
Yeah, this is gonna be a long ass tour. Like, this might be like the Up in Smoke tour. Like, so to you and to, plethora of you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Je m'excuse.
Je m'excuse.
Lo siento.
Sí.
How do you say it in your language?
Shit.
Shit.
No. Hold on. Oh my God, how do you say I'm sorry?
It's cool. You don't even have to say it
because honestly, I don't say it a lot in my language.
My bad.
Yeah, I'm never wrong. That's why.
Because she's perfect. Because she's a Gemini, just like myself. You know what I mean?
Patawad.
Potato salad?
Patawad.
Oh, that almost sounded Arabic, by the way. Believe it or not.
Patawad, or patawarin mo ako.
You want potatoes in Morocco?
Patawarin mo ako.
Put the wad in the mamawa.
Wow.
You know what? This is just me being a dick. You see, if I could have this type of convo back and forth with me and my friend Helena, to all you females who are listening right now, whether you might be a potential prospect,
ooh,
or you're just an acquaintance or a friend, another female friend of mine, a platonic friend, whatever the case may be, just know that I'm a nice guy, bruh. I might be the nicest guy, but don't take don't take my niceness and kindness for a weakness. Okay? Don't do that. Because I got some really heavy boots and I will stomp on your ass. So don't do it.
And I think we should end the podcast by him saying.
And with that being said, I want to thank my very special guest, Helena. This actually might be the longest episode I've ever had. And I've had multiple episodes with George. And you beat my record in Bop It. And you beat my Pod Time record.
Have fun editing this.
Oh, yeah. Well, have fun listening to it. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for tuning in. It feels great to be back. And yeah, I'm out. Peace.